Drama on Friday Night SmackDown. Brock may have flipped the whole show upside down, but everyone was talking about something they actually didn't see and something they did see in the ring involving Becky Lynch, Sonya Deville, and now the much maligned and criticized Charlotte Flair. Plus, WWE's rolled out their schedule for all of their pay-per-view locations for 2022, and some that you're anticipating are indeed on this list. Plus, who wasn't at Bound for Glory that was supposed to be there? We'll get into it on today's Sportskeeda Wrestling Top Story of the Day. If you're watching, share that link or you stink. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Watch out, watch out, watch out. Yes, watch out, watch out, watch out indeed. I am Kellam. That is the illustrious Mr. Jose G. How are you doing? If you're with us, get your comments on screen. Go ahead and subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling on YouTube if you haven't done it already. We have a ton of things that you can only see on our YouTube channel. You can't see them on our Facebook. I know a lot of people join us on Facebook. But jump in, enjoy the news. We have an update coming up here on Sonya Deville. We'll talk about that pay-per-view schedule, and we'll get into the big news with Braun and Bray not being where many people thought they were going to be. And, of course, later on tonight, we'll have Vince Russo on the channel after Monday Night Raw. I want to remind you, I will be a part of the big events this coming up this Friday and Saturday. 3 shows, 2 days. AAW, go to AAWpro.com, get your tickets there, use the promo code AAWFamily, get $5 off your tickets if you're going to the shows. Berwyn Eagles Club, we're going to have talent from WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, and Impact, all in one tournament over 2 days. Plus Thunder Rosa, plus Allison Kay, a Fans Bring the Weapons match. Eddie
Sounds like
Kingston
a great show.
Yeah, it's a stacked show. So I'm going to be talking about this. I'm going to be on a couple of different podcasts that I'll share with you guys this week outside of Sportskeeda. You may even hear this on the Wrestling Observer later on this week, so that's pretty sweet. So definitely check it out. And if you want the link to tickets or anything like that, it's up on my Twitter. Go give me a look at KevCom. Enough of me. Let's get into our main story here. Sonya Deville has now jumped into the drama-rama that has been going on like crazy since Friday. Of course, a big episode of SmackDown. The new roster is a little bit settled in. Crown Jewel, which despite all the socio-political things that go on with every Saudi Arabia show that WWE does, it was a pretty well-received show. I mean, for the most part, I think most fans enjoyed it. And the mixed things about it, did outweigh the show being good overall, right? I would say that's a fair consensus of it. I don't think it was the best show of the year, but I thought it was a really, really strong one. So they're going to do a title exchange, which was the rumor, and a lot of people were not a fan of it. Apparently, the locker room wasn't a fan of it. Some people in creative weren't even a fan of it. You have Becky Lynch out there. She is the SmackDown Women's Champion. She's going to exchange her championship, the women's of SmackDown, with the now joining the women of SmackDown, Charlotte Flair. They're both going to different shows. They're going to trade titles. Sonya Deville, WWE official, is going to oversee the whole thing. And that's how you're going to end a SmackDown, which was pretty big. Brock was on the show. Did you catch Brock on the show? I love Brock on the show.
Yeah, man. Brock really disrupted things on Friday night, but that wasn't really the big talk of Friday night. It was what happened later Friday night into the weekend. And we got all these different reports, multiple reports between the situation with Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch backstage after that championship exchange segment. If you guys watched it and you thought that it looked quite a bit awkward, that's because it was. And according to some of these reports, PW Insider was the first one to kind of give us a little bit of details. Becky originally was the one that kind of wanted to have this go down peacefully. Charlotte Flair didn't want it to go peacefully. She felt that by doing this was going to weaken her title reign and make her look weak. So this whole, she said, she said, it's just not going well. But today we get a further update on that same report by PW Insider that this whole confrontation between Becky and Charlotte happened, in matter of fact, in front of Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. Sonya Deville, who was the third person involved in that segment, was also back there. And it has been said that, quote, that she was very angry with Flair backstage and that she was mad enough that she wanted to fight Flair at one point. I kind of believe this. Sonya, Jersey girl, she doesn't take any BS from anyone, and she's certainly not going to take it from Charlotte Flair.
And she can throw hands better than
anyone in that situation. She can throw hands for real. So this is not the first time that we've heard some of these type of situations with Charlotte in the back. The consensus is that Charlotte is not very well liked right now. Becky is actually the one that is extremely liked backstage. And a matter of fact, in the match between her and Bianca, Charlotte actually wanted to drop that title to Bianca. So I don't know what's going to what's happening right now. There's a lot of people already rumblings. Oh, Charlotte should just leave WWE and go with Andrade to the AEW. Is Charlotte going to be all elite? Is she going to be signing? I don't think so. WWE is going to do everything in their power to keep Charlotte in their brand.
That's a rush to conclusion.
Big time rush too.
Yeah, it's a big time rush to conclusion. I think it's certainly. I mean, if you're that upset, you follow this up. Andrade is going on Twitter. Her fiance is going on Twitter saying "F you WWE," right? And you have Charlotte being reportedly. We have multiple reports. There's so many. I don't think I've seen a more backstage information come out in such a short period of time about one specific story. Some of it conflicting to a bit, because initially it was they were yelling, and then some people had to be separated, and now we're learning that Sonya wanted to physically go off on somebody but didn't. We've also learned from big old tip of the cap to Millennial Meltzer himself, Sean Ross Sapp, and several other sources that Vince McMahon was upset about this because this is going down directly in front of him in gorilla position. That is his position of control. That's where you're going to see him run the show. And he was quite upset about this. And you had Charlotte Flair bailing on the whole situation. And she was not present. I don't know if she was scheduled, by the way.
Apparently she was escorted. She was escorted out of the building to prevent further drama. So there's layers and layers upon what's being reported right now
and you got to assume then that those two women are going back to a locker room and they're airing their grievances with other people on the roster like you would normally in any work situation. A boss yells at you or you yell at somebody else, and that type of situation can get kind of livid. Let's see what the fans are thinking. Let's see what you guys are thinking about here in the situation here.
The chat is extremely busy. People
a lot of people with us on the story.
Nuclear heat backstage.
That's what you're saying. Nuclear heat. Justin saying, what he flew by here? Flair loves the backstage drama. Jeremy says, bring back Bray Wyatt. Let the real fun start. Well, we'll talk about Bray Wyatt. We have news about Bray Wyatt today too to get into. Safet saying, word of advice: don't piss off Vince McMahon.
That's a good piece of advice, Safet.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that's absolutely right. You said they were in a pickle. Yemi says pickles are gross. I'm a fan of pickles. Ashley says greatest women's sports entertainer of all time. Woo!
So one has to think, right? Like a few years ago when Becky was getting really, really hot. That one segment where Vince McMahon comes out and he's like, well, nobody's bigger than the WWE. Certainly not you. Right. And then he inserts Charlotte Flair into the triple threat. Right.
And
that happened years
ago.
And
Becky called her plastic. And that apparently turned everything against. Like they were no longer pals because you called me plastic.
So what do you think is going to happen here? I mean, if you had to take a quick jab at it and you want to kind of dismantle this a little bit, where do you see this
Everyone's
going?
got their magnifying glass on. Look at this. Mansala saying Becky just followed Charlotte on Instagram. Look at that. Oh, she followed her on Instagram. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
They can follow anyone on the roster on Instagram. Yeah. Man, this is nuts. This is pretty crazy here.
It'll be hilarious. I'm going to laugh so hard that this is just one big entire work from the get just to set up this monumental unification match for the titles down the line.
And if it isn't, but then it becomes that, isn't that a good thing though too?
It could be. Yeah, absolutely. It's always best when you have a little bit of reality in the storyline because that way you can really sink your teeth into what's going on in that feud.
A lot of people just throw in their fantasy bookings. People always do this. Any disruption, they will just want their fantasy booking here. Actually saying keeping it alive, brother. just working the angles, man. Working the angles. A lot of people with different opinions about this, about what to think. Sound off. Let us know what you guys think. If you side with, let's use the reactions here specifically for our Facebook audience. If you guys side with Becky Lynch, why don't you throw the heart button up? All right. If you side with WWE and Sonya and her as the middle person there, why don't you throw that thumbs up? All right. And if you just want to just throw that laughy face up there for Flair. All right. If you're with us on Facebook. And if you're with us on YouTube watching on demand, either or, get in the conversation, get on screen, let us know what you think here. I mean, we're going to find out more about this as it comes out. This is certainly one of those things where in a year or two, someone's going to go on the record and explain what happened here.
This is probably going to be told on a Stone Cold Broken Skull session.
Yes, I saw many people tweeting about that. I said, like, this is going to be something that comes up in a Hall of Fame.
I can imagine Stone Cold. He has his beer, right? He's sitting with Charlotte. Becky, some people say you had some stuff going down backstage.
What's the deal? What? Come on, you sisters are out there in the ring. What's the deal? Somebody's going into business for themselves. Like, yeah, he starts doing all the lingo speak. Jose Lugo saying, just started from the beginning. I'm trying to see what y'all are saying about Charlotte. So to catch anyone up who's just joining us here late, and we'll just kind of wrap this segment up here. Here's what we know. Charlotte and Becky are supposed to close SmackDown in a pre-produced segment that they understood what this was on live television, with Sonya Deville serving as a mediator to exchange the championships between Raw and SmackDown, with Charlotte now on SmackDown and Becky now on Raw. They've done this before. I know a lot of fans are angry about this. That is not the story. We're not talking about opinions or anything. Apparently, what was supposed to happen didn't happen. There was supposed to be a moment where Becky was able to pose with both belts. All right, and allude to Becky 2 belts, which could be indeed a unification match. And then now the reported word is that Flair just simply didn't want to look weak in this situation. And the physical exchange between the 2 belts involved Flair first in her case, throwing the belt almost to Becky's feet, then Becky reprising that and throwing it back. Now that obviously was not the booked segment, and things kind of got off the rails. Now you had Bianca Belair and other characters and Sasha Banks getting involved in the same segment, which clearly seemed like it was supposed to be a part of it here. You know, now we could have a scenario with the title unification. We have a whole lot of things, but what became a bigger thing was this backstage kerfuffle between Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and now we're learning today that Sonya Deville was involved, and Sonya Deville has a stake in this. You know, you had me out there as a character. Who did what? Who made who look bad? That I think there's still some debate to that. And was there some confusion about who was supposed to do what? This is a very delicate thing you're doing with your 2 championships at one time in a matter of like seconds, right? So you have to make it look really good here. So other people are with us here. We may have lost someone because we didn't say something. Somebody said they unfollowed us. Sure, it's okay. We're just talking wrestling, pal. That's all right. Felipe saying we don't want Charlotte Flair in the WWE. You know, there's a lot of people that just don't like Charlotte as a performer and don't like her in a prominent position in WWE. But then those are the same fans that want to see her lose every match. And you got to admit, then you're the lines blur between you being a fan of just characters and performers, and now you just don't like people because of who their dad is and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you can't just put those 2 things in the same box. 2 completely different people, different characters, same name, but just completely different people. But we got some exciting news today, Kevin. 2022 schedule's out, and looks like a lot of pay-per-views coming next year are going to line on a Saturday, man. We're going to get some Saturday pay-per-views next year.
Yeah, the WWE pay-per-view schedule is out. A lot of WWE sources confirming this. Have they posted this officially themselves?
They have not, but we do have
seen this every
report here by Fightful.
Yeah, every website has put up some version of this today. And it's a pretty strong list. You know, there's some big dates you're playing here. I'm thankful they're going to play Chicago again. But, I mean, you're talking State Farm Arena in Atlanta. That'll be the Saturday before the big bowl games. That'll be day 1. That's why they're not doing a show in December. You have January 29th, already advertised for months now. Royal Rumble at the Dome at the Americas Center. Capacity there just for seating is 66,000, so they could do over 70,000. You're then you have no pay-per-views in between there. So that's January 29th. Then you have April 2nd and April 3rd. That would be WrestleMania weekend in Dallas, Texas. We'll do near 100,000 for that. In between,
that's a pretty big stretch.
Yeah, that's a big stretch. But in between there, you're likely going to have a Saudi Arabia event, so you won't have an Elimination Chamber.
Oh, that's right. They did mention that there's going to be one in February and another one in October.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't mind them not doing an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, or at least finding a different spot for the Elimination Chamber in the schedule. Then Sunday, May 8th. So this is the one Sunday pay-per-view we're looking at on the docket right now. That will be at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island. So you're almost playing, the Mid-Atlantic there. You're playing a lot of mid between a lot of different markets. Sunday, another Sunday show. There's one of just two here on the schedule. Excuse me. Sunday, June 5th, pay-per-view at the Allstate Arena, the mecca of professional wrestling. The acoustics are fantastic. If you never come out to Chicago, this is a good reason to come out for it. I'll likely be there. Saturday, July 2nd, Money in the Bank at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. That's been advertised already, so another big stadium show. Confirming that SummerSlam will be in Nashville. Quite a move here. Nissan Stadium, another big stadium show here. And then Saturday, September 3rd, Sunday, September 4th, pay-per-view, to be determined location. We don't know that one just yet. And then we know that Survivor Series will be at TD Gardens 2022 in Boston. So there'll be a lot of big markets there. They're leaning into a lot of big markets. Nothing on the West Coast, but I mean, they're going to have a WrestleMania there and for WrestleMania 39.
Yeah, what I'm really surprised, what really caught my eye is the amount of Saturdays. It looks like they're really shifting the focus on pay-per-views on a Saturday.
Yeah, all but two of these. All but two.
Yes, all but two. But I like a Saturday pay-per-view for the simple fact that then I just got Sunday to chill. I don't have to wait all the way on Sunday to do a post show on the late Sunday night just to do stuff again on Monday morning. So I think the Saturday approach is gonna. I think a lot of fans are gonna get on board with that. And the 2-night events like the WrestleManias, I think that's also going to be a great thing down the road.
This is interesting. I like that WWE wants to pivot. You do this as well. Notice that none of the pay-per-views that we're going to see, at least through into the spring, you're going to have a Royal Rumble on a Saturday night now. And you're going to have this day one show on a Saturday night. They are avoiding competition with football. With playoff football.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they'll go up Saturday at January 1st show. They'll go up against a bowl game or two. They'll have to. I don't know the exact schedule for college football, but they'll go up against a couple of those. Sound off on these. Are you going to watch these more? Are you going to feel less inclined to watch them? Are you a Sunday night viewer? Is that your thing? I want to know how fans feel about this, because there's a lot of fans who, even if they're casual, they don't watch Raw and SmackDown every week. They'll catch the pay-per-views. They'll catch the pay-per-views, and we'll talk about them with other people and stuff like that. I want to know what you guys are thinking here. Let's see what fans are signing off here on the chat here. People still yelling about Charlotte. They're still mad about Charlotte and all this different stuff here.
Mishad saying, let's hold a pay-per-view on a Tuesday. Well, we just had a pay-per-view on a Thursday, so might as well. But that's going to interfere with NXT.
Tuesdays. We're not getting Taboo Tuesdays. It's not coming back here.
Maybe NXT can start doing pay-per-views on Tuesdays. They're going to do Halloween Havoc tomorrow.
Stephen Chambers got a great question here. Wonder if this will interfere with the UFC. That's a good question here. UFC likes Saturday nights, but here's why I say I don't think that'll be much of an issue. WWE ran SummerSlam the same night as a Manny Pacquiao fight that was pay-per-view. UFC tends to remain most of their events. They have a handful of them, their ESPN Plus shows that are just with ESPN Plus, no pay-per-view, isolation with that. And a majority of their other events are pay-per-view. Pay-per-view, their shows start late. The main fight is the main attraction. You'll see some conflict. I don't know if it'll be as big a conflict as it could be. Maybe WWE does move some of these events to a Sunday and says, all right, well, we're up against this, this, and this. You also have big boxing matches that could then fall on those nights. You could have one of those big Triller fights that can end on those nights. And I don't know if WWE wants to be in that lane either.
I think WWE doesn't mind competing with Triller. I mean, it's Triller, for God's sake. It's boxing, but entertainment. They do
real
wrestling.
Business, though. These
do
real business.
But
so real business means a real audience.
Absolutely. I think
I'm not saying I like what they're putting out sometimes. I think
I'm
they're
saying
more. They have something.
Yeah, I think they're probably more concerned for things that are going to be broadcasted, like a college football, an NFL, major sports. Big time fights, like a big time name boxing match or a big time UFC match. I think those things will probably hold priority than Triller. That's just my opinion. Not necessarily those of the ones reflected by Sportskeeda Wrestling.
All right, so we have some difference of opinions here. Brandon saying he likes the pay-per-views on Saturday. Rosie saying she doesn't like him she likes him bring him back to Sunday. She likes a Sunday pay-per-view. And so there's a lot there. I wouldn't say there's a complete consensus on this, but I know internationally, a lot of fans like this. A lot of fans like this internationally. If they're going to get bent by that time difference here, you're 6 hours ahead like our friends in the UK. You're 9 hours ahead like our friends in India. We have a lot of our compatriots who work with us at Sportskeeda loved the idea of this pay-per-view on Thursday because they could watch it almost in their time. They said it was pretty late, it was still pretty late for them, but it was almost at the night, so that isn't too much to complain about here. And we have some people saying they're on Team Charlotte with this whole previous issues. Roll back to the beginning of the episode. You want to check that out here. Austin saying, I'll watch the pay-per-view anytime. Doesn't matter what day they air to me, since I can always catch it on a replay, which is
Austin sounds like a straight up fan. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is, what time, he will watch it because it's a pay-per-view. My kind of person.
Paul saying, great on Saturday nights for the little guys. Sunday evening, too late for school. I hear that a lot from families. I imagine if I was a little kid, I could stay up late and watch Saturday Night Live when I was a kid. And that was like, I was a little kid, and I could stay up late and watch Saturday Night Live or Saturday night's main event where they had Hulk Hogan on, right? I could check that out when I was a kid. Yeah, I could see Sunday nights being like, all right, we got to cut this off at some point. If that show, especially on the East Coast, you got that show going on and you're not ending until almost 11 sometimes. And then you got homework and all those different things for the kids. So you're going to have Halloween on a Sunday though this year. So that'll be something there. And other people with different takes here. Yeah, I like all the different opinions here. A lot of different opinions on this. And then we have other people saying I'm watching AEW on Saturday. It's worth noting there is some possible conflicts here with an AEW pay-per-view. Most notably, we have this SummerSlam pay-per-view that'll be July 30th. Okay, so that's pretty early for SummerSlam, by the way. And there was some hope of a UK event in a stadium to honor the big anniversary of SummerSlam. And where are we going to get that? Now, we're going to get a SummerSlam in Nashville. They're going to keep that in the United States, but it looks like they will do some type of major event, reportedly, in that slot that is to be determined there. That could be Saturday 3rd or Sunday, September 4th. That would fall as the same Labor Day weekend that AEW presents one of its biggest shows, biggest annual show, its startup show, All Out. So if you have that going on there, you got an issue then. You got a real issue there of are you going to put your show on? Because AEW doesn't mind doing a Saturday night. They went down this road. They've gone to some Sundays, depending on what it is. They don't want to have conflict with the UFC either. They like to avoid that as well. And they don't want to. I don't think they want to avoid being on the same night as a Jacksonville Jaguars game, right? So Tony Khan owns it. So you can have a real issue if WWE presents a major stadium show out of the UK on UK time. They're still going to want to put that on in the afternoon. If they can do a UK show, you're going to see that show in daylight. The whole show is going to be in daylight for the most part, and it'll have some conflict there. I don't know how you would do that. That'd be a real issue. You'd have a real problem. Go ahead, buddy.
No, I think it is going to be an issue. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens and see if if the UK definitely. No, you're good. If the UK definitely gets a pay-per-view, they've been talking about it for months. They do deserve it. It's been a big time pay-per-view like that has been well over 20 years. So let's get it to them. I think it's time. But this weekend, we also had another pay-per-view. Impact Wrestling had a pay-per-view, and the internet wrestling community did not want to stop talking about, is this the day that Braun Strowman shows at AEW or at Impact Wrestling? Or does Bray Wyatt show up at Impact? No, even though it was a pretty good show, but we didn't get either Braun or Bray. They no-showed. Well, I want to say they no-showed. But according to a report from Fightful,
they were never advertised.
They were never advertised.
And they were never even remotely teased on television.
Nothing. Not at all. Not at all. But according to Fightful, Impact Wrestling is looking not only to bring in Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. They've been talking to them, but it looks like another big ex-WWE guy, Bronson Reed, Jonah Rock, is probably going to be making his way down to Impact. But when it comes to Bray Wyatt, says that Impact has contacted former WWE superstar Bray Wyatt, but did not appear, have not had a deal. Nothing's come to fruition. Same thing with Braun Strowman, Adam Scherr. They've been talking to him, but nothing's been finalized. Nothing's been dealt with. So a lot of people had a lot of expectations for these two to show up at, one of the company's biggest pay-per-views of the year. Turned out to be a really good show. Moose, brand new Impact champion. Josh Alexander beat Christian Cage. Moose cashed in his pretty much their version of their Money in the Bank last night to become the Impact Wrestling champion. Moose is looking in tremendous physical shape, and I think this is well overdue for Moose. But yeah, no Braun, no Bray. I was not surprised about this.
You weren't surprised about it because there was no allusion to it. I think they would have stirred the pot if there was something going on with this. They really stuck with their guns and what they've developed on television here. And this clash between Josh Alexander and Christian Cage. So it's interesting. A lot of fans just mad about what they create in their mind that isn't fulfilled on television. And I just got to tell some people, if they don't tease it at all, you did get the inspiration. You did get the former Iconics on the show. We knew that was happening. They said it on television. They said it. They said
they're also the new women's Impact the women's Knockout Tags champion, right?
And of course, we bring up the situation here with Christian Cage dropping the Impact World title to Josh Alexander, fellow Canadian who defeated him clean. Josh Alexander, by the way, will be competing in the Jim Lynam Memorial Tournament on Fight TV October 29th and October 30th. Get your pay-per-view, get it at fight.tv, get the links, get your tickets at AAW.com, and use that promo code AAWFamily. Get $5 off your ticket. Links are up on my Twitter at Kev Kellam. I know. I'm going to be working the show. It's going to be fun. I'm going to talk to Josh about this because he went through hell to win. He went through hell to win that title, and cashed out his X Division champion to do the option C, right? Drop a title so I can get a shot at the world title. And then he gets cashed in on with a, call your shot gauntlet thing that happened earlier in the same night with Moose winning it. He won a battle royal to do that. It was an interesting, almost a hot shot thing. I would say this is really a hot shot booking. WWE's been doing a lot too with a lot more companies now on television. You got to do things that keep fans' attention. Well,
and also the amount of free agents we got.
And I also think this is something where, all right, you're sticking with us. A lot of people are moving around. I think, Josh Alexander and Moose is where they're going to go with this. I do feel for Josh Alexander. Obviously, he's going to chase Moose now. That's what's going to happen here. And that's the direction they're going in. And promos they've already put out on digital point in that direction. And Moose is quite the heel now. Josh is somebody you can easily get behind. They love telling you about him bringing that title home to his kids. Some moving stuff. They did some good storytelling with this. It does feel a little hot-shotty, but it also makes you think, as Tawari texts in here, since Impact AEW relationship, is it still on? Isn't exactly clear. We still have Impact World Tag Team Champions in Doc Ellos and Carl Anderson, who are they're gonna see them all over Dynamite. I don't see any indication that they're not going to be on Dynamite any further. But
they weren't on Dynamite on Saturday or the week previously to that.
They weren't. Okay.
No.
All right. I mean, we've seen them on BTE and stuff like that too. So I'm thinking, is that something there? But is this the end of that relationship? I don't know. No one's gone on the record about that. If this deal between this relationship, this cabal of them is coming together. New Japan Pro Wrestling still has some type of working relationship with Impact. They're teasing Minoru Suzuki, who's done a run here with AEW, a short run. He's going to be over there soon enough. And I'm of the thought that I don't know if Impact got as much out of this in the long run as they could have. I don't know if this boosted their profile. Maybe it helped them sell some more tickets and stuff like that, but they're not at full scale touring. They did do Sam's Town, which is a venue you can run minimally and do okay in a state that has very limited regulations, like Nevada seemed to be. You were at SummerSlam, right? It was pretty loosey-goosey there. So I'm of the thought that we'll see what happens here. I don't know what Impact got from this in the long run. And I heard a lot of people say, what did you do with the women? You had a lot of interactions you could have done with the women that weren't completed. You did have Tony Khan on camera kind of playing like a Vince McMahon type character. You did do some fun stuff. They did try. I'm not saying they didn't try, but the AEW guys were really protected. And the one guy who lost was not Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega did not drop a title to anyone in AEW. He took their title, ran with it, put some more shine on it, beat a bunch of your guys, then lost it to another AEW guy so he wouldn't have to lose. I think in the back end, you can completely see that. That's kind of obvious. That's on the surface.
Absolutely. I think Impact might have gotten the short end of the stick in this deal, and whatever this partnership is. And you can kind of see that. We don't know if it's done either. We don't know if it's done, but when the puzzles fit the piece, Kevin, you're going to see the whole picture. You haven't seen the Good Brothers on AEW TV for a while now. You just had their main title, Christian Cage, who dropped it to Josh Alexander. Now Moose has it because he cashed in. So it looks like there's some type of a reset button going on right now. They got brand new women's tag champions. So I think there's something down the pipeline. But for me to say, is that relationship over? I don't know.
Before we sign off here, Pratik says, do we see The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, biggest movie star in the world, at Survivor Series? That will be in New York City. It'll be the 25th anniversary of his WWE debut. WWE is reportedly going to acknowledge that in some way, even if he's not present. It isn't completely clear if he won't be there, but he will be filming his NBC TV show, Young Rock, in Australia. I would assume he taped something for this. If he isn't there physically, he taped something for this. He's a part of the show in some way. So
maybe, yeah. I mean, he made his debut there. I think it's something monumental for his career. At least, giving the thanks to the WWE Universe and to the WWE for, commemorating, that anniversary for him. Yeah, it would be way cooler to see him in person, but let's be real, guys. The Rock is the most busiest person on planet Earth right now. He's got, four movies that he's working on at the same time, 3 in the chamber, plus a TV show and whatever other projects he's got on YouTube. So the guy is a very busy man. Now, the rumor and the talk is it'll probably be a better setup for WrestleMania at Hollywood 2023. Roman Reigns and The Rock. That makes perfect sense because The Rock is total Hollywood now. So it just makes perfect sense to do it at that venue. Again, those are just the rumblings, but nothing confirmed on that.
Nothing confirmed on that. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We'll be back on later tonight after Monday Night Raw with Vince Russo. Bro. All right, so definitely check that out. We'll be having all of your reactions to Monday Night Raw, and Vince Russo will certainly sound off in the show. If you haven't done it already, go ahead and hit those buttons. Go and hit those like buttons. Go and hit those heart reactions. Get us above 100. Put us over that hill. All right. Put us over that hill. Haven't done already? Go ahead and turn your notifications on. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. A lot of exclusives over there, including a very noteworthy interview that many people were talking about with Paul Heyman, Dominic Mysterio, Drew McIntyre. We'll also be dropping new interviews this week with Indy Hartwell of WWE NXT ahead of tomorrow's Halloween Havoc. That'll be coming out anytime very, very soon. So look out for that dropping some point in the next 24 hours or so. And, of course, we'll have a new episode of Inside Cradle back on Thursdays, me and Rick Uccino. I believe we may have a big guest on that, but we're trying to confirm that. What do you got going on with Weekends of Wrestling this week, bud?
Oh, man, this week is going to be a very busy week. I have 4 interviews coming on Thursday. We're going to be interviewing the main event for Pro Wrestling's Action, Rise of the Titans. That's going to be going down November 5th in Sanford at the Tuffy Bottle Lounge. So go ahead and check out my show on Thursday night, 8 p.m. YouTube. Go ahead, smash that subscribe button and notification bell. Like and follow on Facebook. As always, thank you. Follow us at Weekends of Wrestling.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for doing it. Thank you for all the support. A very, very busy week here, man. I got a lot of family and I got a family and a girlfriend who are going to be angry asking me, when do you stop talking into microphones? But hey, these people won't stop listening. They won't stop listening. All right.
They love it.
They love it. They love it. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. We'll be here tomorrow right around the same time. Remember, when watching wrestling, do the thing you're supposed to do, which is what?
You got to enjoy it, guys. You got to enjoy it. Enjoy wrestling, guys. Have a good night. Yeah.